Hi. When I first moved into my property, I started getting these letters from TV licensing, and basically they were addressed to the previous occupant that had his or her name on it. And after I ignored these letters for a few months, they then were addressed to the current occupier with the address. There's some kind of barcode on here which I've kind of made up my own code to cover it up. I don't want to give away any of my details. And a unique reference number. Basically these come in a sequence. The first one, it's what I call the enforcement letter, where they're basically telling you the enforcement division has been scheduled to visit your property. They're basically just trying to intimidate you. It's a scare tactic. Ignore these letters. They don't have any authority to come into your property at all. You're not obliged to answer the door, and there's nothing for them to see, therefore. They also go further to threaten about a fine up to £1,000. I've never heard of anybody being fined more than 200, only because they let them into the door and they signed the form admitting guilt. Unknowingly they were tricked into it. So basically they go on to say you can now stop this investigation and so on by buying a TV license. So they're just trying to con you into buying a license. Again, it's just like a hard sell. They're just trying to flog your TV license, which I don't require. I'm legally license free. I don't need a TV license. I have no wish to watch live TV in any format whatsoever, because I find it to be quite boring. So basically that's the enforcement letter. The next one that we get is this one here, with nice red bits on the edges. A nice little red circle there makes it all look very official and threatening. Again, the legal occupier it's addressed to with your address, and this one had a sort of different type of barcode on it, and basically they're telling you an officer has been scheduled to visit, and your postcode, to find out if TV is being watched or recorded illegally. The officer may visit your property any day of the week, morning and evening. And the below describes the procedure during the visit from the officer. This one's signed by Jane Powell, Cardiff Enforcement Manager. The previous one that I showed you didn't have a signature on it. They do put unique reference numbers along the bottom there, and on the side of this letter, which I've covered up for the purposes of this video. We can apply to court for a search warrant to gain access to your property. No, that is untrue, because any such search warrant, when you apply for a search warrant, you need to have evidence that a crime has been committed on that property. Therefore, any warrant that they obtain is fake, and they cannot come into your property. Do not open the door, basically, because these people do not have any more authority than your postman, and they will try to get you to incriminate yourself. So therefore, do not let them in, and if you do make the mistake of letting them in, do not sign anything. They go on about what to expect in court. They're just trying to scare people into paying. That's all this is about. And about prosecution, they're talking about, well, how are they going to prosecute me if they do not know my name? And with a fake search warrant, because it's not signed by a proper judge and does not have an authentic stamp from the court. And the Telecommunications Act is what covers the TV licensing, and an act is not law. It is, from what I understand, an agreement between two parties, and I haven't agreed to anything, so they can't do anything about it. Yeah, basically it's just a hard sell, trying to tell you how you can buy a TV license and how to avoid paying fines and all that. Don't worry about it. The third type of letter that you can then expect to receive, be prepared for this investigation to lead to court. It all sounds very scary and threatening. Dear occupier, it is a criminal offence to watch or record programs as are being shown on TV or any other device at this address. If the officer, that's what they call them, officers, but they're not officers, they are just salespeople, scheduled to visit, and they put the postcode in there, finds that you are watching TV illegally, you will be interviewed under caution. They make it sound like this person is has some type of authority, that they're a policeman or something. You may then be summoned to court and prosecuted. Well, I've got news for you. That's not going to happen. Then they go on to say what to expect in court, prosecution statements and all that type of thing, and fines, and how to avoid prosecution. Again, buy a TV license. So basically those are the first sort of three different types of letters that I received from them. At first it did seem quite intimidating and threatening and worrying, but then I did a bit of research on TV license resistance website and just follow the golden rule. Do not open the door, do not say anything, and let them carry on wasting their money sending you these letters every month. And basically I've saved £145 times 5. So yeah, in excess of sort of £600 I would say that I've saved on this, which I've put to better use, watching programs that I enjoy via other means and without any adverts or anything, content that I do not wish to see. Anyway, hopefully this video was a bit informative for you, and like I say, don't let them intimidate you. If you start receiving these letters, just ignore them. You can basically bin them. They just make it all sound very official and threatening, but they are not. I've had a few goons visiting my place, or maybe do a follow-up video of this to show you some of the other different types of letters I've had, and the slips of paper they put through the door. Basically, the one goon did visit my house one time, and I made the mistake of opening the door. Once he identified himself, he did try to ask me first if I was Mr. So-and-so. They just come with some fictitious name in the hope that you will correct them, which I did not. I then asked him what his name was and what he wanted. When he identified himself and told me he was from TV licensing, I just shut the door, locked it, and carried on doing my thing. And he basically just scuttled off across the street, powerless to do anything. I have also made a note of some of the registration numbers of vehicles of these goons when they've been knocking on my door, just in case I need them, because at some point, if this harassment, and it is harassment, continues, I may consider taking TV licensing, aka Capita, to court, because there is a law against harassment in which, if found guilty, they may be fined £5,000 or 6 months imprisonment, or both. So yeah, that would be an interesting one. But yeah, I don't like being harassed or intimidated, so therefore I shall, for the time being, just continue to ignore all these letters. Anyway, I hope you found this informative, and if so, I may do another video on some of the other letters that I received. I've been saving them all up in case I do decide to take them to court. Thanks for watching. Bye now.